check out two of the newest low-price terrain offerings for Age of Sigmar from Games Workshop. Spiky bits. Alright, welcome back, Hobby Maniacs. Today we're taking a look at some new/old terrain for the Age of Sigmar / fantasy, whatever you want to call it, because these were actually old fantasy models, believe it or not. This is the Mage Wrath Throne and the Baer and Vortex, two separate offerings this week by Games Workshop. $15 retail each here in the US, of course. Now, these actually used to be a box set of themselves together. And this actually had more parts to it. It had like this little mini mountain of skulls kind of thing that went on the bottom of it. And together, I want to say they were like $44.99, but I don't remember. They have been out for a while, like 2011, like a long time. And now they look cool because they are part of Age of Sigmar now, and we're gonna definitely get into the rules here in a second. I have some stuff prepped right here off camera to talk about. But what I wanted to mention was that they are, while they are, I guess, affordably priced, there is kind of a price to that price, so to speak, because these are the Chinese kind of resin. Now, I don't know what type. It's obviously not the multi-part plastic resin we're used to on our Space Marines and such. It's kind of a lower quality. I've never worked with this stuff, but I'm gonna, because guess what? I need one of these Baer and Vortexes for my sorcerer because they're so badass. In games, all the games of Age of Sigmar actually, and the Mage Wrath Throne's pretty good too. To be quite honest, it almost makes you want to switch around kind of how you do things with your heroes in your army. But I want to talk more about the models real quick. So this is kind of like a departure from what Games Workshop's traditionally used to doing. You know, you see $50 pieces of terrain like the two was it Realm Gates, so to speak. You know, that you can purchase. So these don't come individually like in little, plastic kind of things. These, as you're going to see here as we open it up, the Baer and Vortex come in a little baggie, and they're basically, the pieces are already separated. So, that's not generally how we get our stuff for for our models. But that being said, the work's kind of done for us. Like, we don't have to cut it off a sprue or anything, which is kind of nice. But it's still, while not super bad or anything, it is still a lower quality plastic than what we would get from the multi-part kind of type deal with the Space Marines. Like I was saying, like you can tell, this is not the higher quality that we're definitely used to. Now, what I do like about this kit is, I was dry fitting it here. There's going to be a gap, but that's what they make the plastic putty for from Vallejo. But painting wise, you could literally paint this to different color, like your glowy green, your glowy blue, orange, whatever you want to do, and then glue it into here, paint these two completely different colors separately, and then boom, you're done. You don't have to worry about overspraying anything with airbrush or anything like that. So I like that regard, which I think is pretty neat. It's only 4 pieces too, so not that hard to put together. Let's be honest. Now, I don't know how the glue's going to stick to this material. Obviously, if you worked with this stuff in the past, please leave your 2 cents worth in the comments below. But I actually don't know if, I want to say these came on a sprue in the past, the old kit, but I never bought it. I never opened it. I don't even think we unboxed it. I don't even think I was doing unboxings in 2016, to be quite honest. But all that aside, it looks solid. It looks, it looks like for $15, you can't really complain when you can't even get a freaking clam pack miniature for $25. So I feel like good value for Age of Sigmar. These are great for casters because, as you're going to see when we do the rules breakdown here in a sec, well, there's really no drawback to taking them, to be quite honest. And then the Mage Wrath Throne, kind of a little disappointed, I'll be honest, because it doesn't come with the full kit, the whole little skull mountain that it normally stood on. And it is that cheaper. I don't want to say it's cheaper. I just assume it's cheaper. I'm not a plastic expert or anything like that. But I tell you what, I don't really like when I see something get dumped out of a bag with that many parts. I'm like, wait, what's going on? Where's the instructions? Oh, no instructions. Dang it. Alright, but I feel like you can look at the pictures here and figure out where this stuff goes. It's just kind of annoying. Again, $15. You can't even get a freaking clam pack mini for $15 anymore. But everything comes with a price, like I was saying. And that's kind of what we're seeing here. Now, again, you can tell this is the lower quality, not as detailed. These skulls are definitely flat. This little studs and everything, not as good detailed as we've seen in the past. Now, seam-wise, it's not 100%. It's not going to match up. There's going to be some gaps, and that's just the way it's going to be. You're just going to have to do some work there, folks. Again, $15, you can't. It is what it is, you can't get but so mad about it. Like, it's $15, and these days, I feel like that in itself is a value of sorts. So, you definitely gotta, like we say, vote with your dollars. And if you don't think it's a good deal, well, you can scratch build something your own. But I feel like scratch building will definitely take more than $15 worth of time and effort. So, boom, there you go. We've come full circle. Now, rules-wise, let's break these bad boys down, because here's the thing. Depending on what system you're playing, if you're playing the pitch battle rules, basically everything you need to know about scenery is right here on page 109. So it says basically during your battle you may use rules for a scenery's model's war scroll if it has one, or generate the rules for scenery using the table on the Warhammer Age of Sigmar rule sheet, which is that 4-page rules supplement or rules set for Age of Sigmar. In addition to following rules about monsters and covers used in pitch battles, so it doesn't apply to monsters, which we already know, right? So that kind of makes sense. But read into this. During your battle, you may use the rules from a scenery model's war scroll if it has one. So to me, Rob Baer, that says rules is written that if I get on top of your Mage Wrath throne, I get the benefits from being, my general does, from being on top of your Mage Wrath throne. Now, I know it doesn't sound like, wait a minute, I bring the piece of terrain and then you get to use it if you get on top of it. Well, I mean, that's what it sounds like, and that's kind of how it works in 40K as well. Now, reinforcement points right here basically state that, if a spell or ability will allow you to add units to your army or replace units that have been destroyed, you must set aside your points in order to be able to use these units. The points you set aside are called your army's reinforcement points, which, if you're playing pitch battle, you're probably familiar with these. Now, here's the caveat, right? If you look on your app right here, the Balwin Vortex is 0 points. Also, the Mage Wrath Throne is 0 points. Now, it does say not yet available, so I don't know if this is going to update, at some point today or, this weekend. I don't know when the stuff updates, but generally, every time I go to think, hey, how many points does that cost? I go and check my phone and it's there. So I don't know what point it may or may not update, but right now, not yet available means, well, it's 0 points, so I'm not pointing it out to put in my army, so I don't know. I feel like it's free. So it's not a reinforcement, but a spell can bring in the Balwin Vortex, which we're about to see. The Mage Wrath Throne, I guess, is just basically set up, in your army. Now, there was an Age of Sigmar battle report in the last White Dwarf, which I actually saw they were using a Mage Wrath Throne. I did not read it, unfortunately, so maybe the answers we seek are actually in that article. I already gave my White Dwarf away to somebody that didn't get one, so I don't have it to reference, unfortunately. So if you have it, and you have the answer to all of this, please leave it in the comments. But for now, we're following the paper trail we can with, this is the data scroll, or the war scroll. So it's scenery, Mage Wrath Throne, and it says basically the following rules are used for the scenery. Do not roll on the scenery table on a Warhammer Age of Sigmar rule sheet. So if your general is a hero, or a hero from your army is on the top level of the Mage Wrath Throne, which I guess is the seat right there, straight up Conan style, then it can sit upon the throne, where they will remain seated until they move for any reason. Monsters cannot sit upon the throne. While a model is seated upon the throne, they gain the following powers. Throne of Command. If your general is seated in the throne, all other heroes from your army can use a command ability listed on their war scroll if they are within 15 inches of the Mage Wrath Throne in your hero phase, even though they are not your general. That's pretty good. So Mage Wrath, subtract 2 from any casting rolls made by enemy wizards within 15 inches as well. And Wrath and Ruin, if a model from your army is seated upon the throne in your hero phase, roll a dice. On a roll of 2 or more, they gaze imperiously at an enemy unit within 15, unleashing the throne's dread power. That unit suffers D3 mortal wounds as the warrior collapses to the ground. On a 1, the seated warrior is judged unworthy. You have been found unworthy, and is racked with the same agonizing spatters, suffering the 3 mortal wounds himself. So chaos giveth and chaos taketh. You know what I mean? So I think it's cool. Apparently it's 0 points. I don't see why you wouldn't take one of these in your army as of right now. Even if it's 40 points or 50 points, it's pretty good because you get to change your whole army up around your command abilities. Love it. I think this, even right now, it's a must-have. Perhaps if it gets a point value, it's still a must-have, depending on what it is. Now, we'll put it in the notes here in the video if they do change it over the weekend, but who knows yet. And then here's the Bellwind Vortex, another must-have in my humble opinion. So, same with the deal. It doesn't follow the scenery rules that we just read, but if you have a Bellwind Vortex model, wizard heroes in your army know the summon Bellwind Vortex spell in addition to any others, provided they are not also a monster. And the summon Bellwind Vortex is a 7-up to cast. If successfully cast, remove the caster and set up a Bellwind Vortex where they stood. You and your opponent must then move any models so they're none within 3 inches, if possible to do so. Then place the caster on the upper platform. If the spell is cast, it does not count towards the number of spells the wizard can attempt into a turn. I mean, why would you not cast this? Okay, seems good. Hints and tips. A degree of common sense. Okay, sure, that makes sense. You should try to move as few models as possible, not, hey, I'm going to cast this right in the middle of this combat. Everybody gets pushed back. Suck it. I mean, that's not what Age of Sigmar is about, guys. So, be respectable about it. Rolling Vortex and Magic. Models cannot move within the 3-inch of the Bellwind Vortex while a wizard is atop it, nor can they charge the wizard. So he's basically untouchable except for by shooting. That seems pretty good, I feel like, because what's the squishiest part of most armies? The wizard. In addition, you can add 1 to the casting and unbinding rules for a wizard on top of the Bellwind Vortex, and they double the range of any spells they attempt to cast. What is going on right now? Like, this is so good. Holy crap for crap. Held aloft. A wizard atop a Bellwind Vortex cannot move. Okay, that's fair. So there's a drawback. However, at the start of your hero phase, the wizard atop a Bellwind Vortex can banish it and return it to the ground. If he does so, remove the Bellwind Vortex from the battlefield until it is summoned again. So you can never get up there because you can never be within 3 inches of a wizard, and if you can't get within 3 inches unless you're going to assault, and then but you can't launch a charge because you can't get up there. This is like, I'm trying to follow the flowchart of what, how do you, I guess you can't? It seems good for a wizard, like, that's all I'm saying. Wow, okay, so everybody needs one of these two, I feel like. Even if it's 0 points or even if it's 100 points, it still seems like buying an insurance policy for a wizard. Yes, he can definitely get shot, but it doesn't seem like he's going to really get assaulted, and you're going to be launching those long bombs. Summon spells, you can be like summoning stuff over their lines, because remember, a lot of times you summon stuff at 9 inches, now you can be summoning at 18 inches. That's sneaky enough to get past that 3-inch, bubble that you got to stay away from models. Drop some stuff in their backfields and take objectives. Oh, Nurglings! Now you know what I'm going to do with it. Shh, don't tell anybody. Go buy all the Nurglings on eBay right now. Anyways, so that's all I got to say about that. I think these are 2 great offerings. Now, I'm not too keen quite yet or sold on the quality of the material itself, but that doesn't mean it's not good. Just I haven't personally worked with it yet. So please, if you worked with the stuff. Oh, and one other thing I wanted to show you too. Remember I said that pile of skulls this thing sits on? Well, it's got this weird little, like, it's not flat, so you're gonna have to like trim. This little stud right here is longer than this little stud, but this is what they used to lock into that pile of skulls. So they didn't change it all. You're gonna have to shave those down because look, check it out. It doesn't lay flat. So whatever, just a little thing to be aware of. I was like, wait, what? Why doesn't? Oh, it used to lock into the skulls. I get it. So kind of makes sense, but for 15 bucks again. You can't scratch build anything, or, I mean, I guess you could, but when you factor in your time, I just feel like it's 15 bucks. Like, just go with this thing, you know what I mean? I wish there was some version of this kind of for 40K, but for Age of Sigmar, I think these just might be like must-haves for everybody's army almost. So that's it for this one. Please leave it in the comments below if you have a lot more to say about these particular pieces of terrain and how they function in Age of Sigmar, or even, you know, the material themselves, whatever. We always like to hear from you guys.
Deleted scenes, bonus content, and all the interviews and post-game wrap-up videos can be located in the Hall of Veterans on thelongwar.net. Visit thelongwar.net today and try a week completely free with no strings attached. That's not all. Thelongwar.net is also your hobby resource for exclusive early access with an ad-free experience to all your favorite videos. Members of the Hall of Veterans gain early exclusive access to multiple hobby videos.